do it. No. They're in.
All right.
They're in and
Give it a second. All right, now we're going to do the ARDEN demo. And introduce yourself with your call sign.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Zach K1ZK, and it's kind of unfortunate that I'm giving this presentation because I don't know what I'm talking about. So bear with me. But I've been into radio for a while. I don't know a lot about networking, and so I figured this would be a good opportunity for me to learn something about networking. So ARDEN is the Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network. It's mostly created by hams and people who have experience with networking out on the West Coast. There's some activity here on the East Coast. Not very, basically, it's a mesh network. It's maybe a little bit like Meshtastic if you're familiar with that. I'm not familiar with that. I'm just playing with ARDEN, so I'm trying to figure it out. But the basic idea, at least as far as I understand it, is you take consumer-grade Wi-Fi equipment. So here's some of it right here. This is a Ubiquiti radio, basically. And this one down here is also a node. This one's a little micro tick router. This one's like a bigger home router. These are all nodes. They've been reflashed with special firmware to turn them from Wi-Fi gear into ham radio mesh gear. And instead of operating under Part 15 for unlicensed home wireless operations, you're now operating your gear under Part 97 for your ham radio. This means you can add amplifiers if you want. You can add big fancy high gain antennas, and you can beam your signal, microwave signal, across long distances or short distances. In this case, we've got a bunch of gear just here at the table. Basically, what it creates is a self-healing network. So if I unplug one of these nodes, the rest of the nodes would take over and route traffic automatically between the rest of the remaining nodes. Basically, anything that you can plug in with a Cat5 cable or a Cat6 cable, or you can plug into one of these things and create your own network, which means you can do something simple like sending a chat or a file across the network, or you can do something more complicated like plug in a camera or an internet phone, an IP phone on the network, and you can start making phone calls on your own ham radio wireless network.
Yeah, most hams are used to very low baud rates for data. This is in megabit.
That's correct. Yeah, this is high speed stuff. One of the reasons, this one's operating on 2.4 gigahertz. These two little guys are actually dual banders. They're working on 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz. So up there, you have lots of bandwidth available to move a lot of data really quickly. So yeah, this is high speed stuff. You can send live video. You can send big files. It's basically like speed of Wi-Fi, just repurposed for ham radio for our own network. Okay, so Tom just clocked in. So Tom and I are a couple of the people in Vermont that are doing ARDEN, and
there's Tom.
So we just did a little speed test. So this network is running at about 5 megabits of data transfer speed, which isn't blinding.
No.
But we haven't exactly optimized it, and but it'll do. You can do images, you can do chat, text chatting, which we have going. You can do phone.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest demonstration I've seen is the group in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. They have multiple nodes on mountaintops around the bay, and they basically have when an earthquake happens, they have a phone system that EMS people can use and pass messages, and it's kind of nifty.
Yeah, that's great. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to demonstrate. Once you get your node up and running, you get the ability to you can log onto their little dashboard. We've got it running here on this computer. Tom's got it running on his. So this is one example of something you can see once you get it up and running. This part is for pointing the antenna. This is microwave radio, so the antennas have to be pointed at each other. You can imagine that being really important for a long distance network. This one, I've got a little directional antenna on here, and so if I move it around, you'll definitely see the signal change a little bit as you point the antenna in the wrong way, signal will drop. So it's definitely directional. This is a neat little tool for helping you see how strong your signal is and get the antenna pointed right where you need it to be. So that's that tool. This is what the basic dashboard looks like once you get it up and running. It'll give you all kinds of details on what frequency you're on, what networks you're connected to, what other nodes it can see. So that's what it looks like once you get it up.
These are all the nodes that we have working on this tabletop right now. We have five. I put another one.
Nice. They're pretty. The one nice thing about them is they're cheap. They're consumer equipment, so they're pretty easy to get. You reflash them with this firmware, and you're good to go. So you can make lots of nodes, create a pretty big network.
Yes, you can. And,
Yeah.
Mesh networks are used in houses for Wi-Fi signals, and all that stuff is commercial out there and not expensive.
Exactly.
So we did get the mesh chat running. So here is a application that we got from ARDEN, and we flashed it into I flashed it into my node. Zach was able to connect to my node and log in. So I'm actually hosting a chat group, and I can send him another message from over here, complete with typographical error. Let me fix this. Okay, so I hit send, and a new message should pop up over there shortly.
Theoretically. There it goes.
Yeah. So that is 3 feet, but it could have been 3 miles.
Right. Did I log that for my 2.4 gigahertz worked on grids?
Well, so during the VHF contest, this is something you could do.
Yeah.
But we didn't succeed. We tried.
All right. Well, we should get some new bands out of this 2.4 and 5.8.
So one thing about these nodes is that ARDEN, the group, the corporation, the nonprofit that runs this, publishes new firmware on a regular basis, and the problem we had during the VHF contest was I was out of date. I'm all up to date now.
Good.
Now I notice you've labeled your nodes with your call signs. Is that something I should do to stay compliant with FCC Part 97 rules?
I don't know if it's required, but I did put a copy of my license on here and just remind me how to access it. But
Gotta have your passwords right out there with easy.
yeah. So that's for my own personal use. But yeah, I think there's enough of these that we would make up a special sticker. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing. I appreciate your patience. People here who have networking experience are like, oh yeah, I know what this is. I know exactly what I can do with it. So use your imagination.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's also WinLink post offices that are running off there. So if you're into big picture ARDEN network, which includes some internet backbone, you can do your WinLink email through ARDEN, and there is possibility to do a WinLink email between nodes without using the internet at all. If you're in part of the ARDEN network that's independent of the internet. So you talk about California, they've got quite a network.
They do.
To do that. We're talking about Massachusetts DMR repeater network. Uses ARDEN backbone between their hilltop repeaters. So they're independent of the internet, connecting their DMR repeaters together in Massachusetts.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. It's sort of new in Vermont, and you guys are the bleeding edge in Vermont.
In Vermont. Maybe not so much the rest of the time. It's been fun to experiment. Like I said, learning a lot about networking. Having some fun with some new hit radio bands. I've got a sector antenna on top of my tower pointing towards Burlington. So if you're in the Burlington area, look me up and see if you can connect up to that.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to close the session, and that's it for today, guys. Thanks for